my name is CF Claire. Welcome to the second revision vlog and welcome to the channel. I forgot to film an intro clip, so here I am doing that from May 3rd. So you can see it's a little bit hotter than it used to be. Also, I hate looking good, so that's why I don't do it. I'm going to throw it back to me from a couple weeks ago. Have fun. Good morning. It's April 14th and it's happening. My attention is being completely sucked into garden stuff. There are some beds that I need to move for various reasons, and it's like great weather and I don't have what I need to work on in the greenhouse, so it feels like obviously I want to be outside in the great weather, so I may as well work on this moving the garden bed project. But obviously, like, I still have writing goals that I want to be meeting. So I'm going to try to break it up into 25-minute task blocks throughout the day and make it a little more approachable to do the writing. It's not that I don't want to be writing. It's just it's a beautiful day. We just had a snowstorm. I live in New England, right? We had a snowstorm 2 days ago. Now it's a week of beautiful weather. That's how it goes. Today's tasks, as far as writing go, have to do with some brainstorming that I need to do. I have the main scenes, so that's going really well as far as what I'm doing for revision, but there are some more specific stuff that I want to brainstorm a bunch of ways these things could happen, or what these things might entail. So let's do a 25-minute task block, and then my son and I need to go to the garden center and we need to pick up our seed potatoes for the season and a couple of seed packets, things we don't have. I have not worked on this project very much. I have been spending a lot of time working on the greenhouse. I'll throw up some footage of where that project is at right now. That's kind of taking the priority right now with my time because we need it. We've got plants that need to go out into a greenhouse in the next 2 weeks max. The other thing that's going on is I feel like I'm ready to start just the actual second draft of writing. So there was a bunch of stuff that I really wanted to do as far as figuring out some issues that I know are still going on with the outline for the second draft, the revising. And I'm just kind of hitting a little bit of a wall with it because everything is so different in this draft than what I have for the first draft that it's sort of two different books. And it's not really. I know that it's not really, but so much is different that I feel like I need to just write the second draft before doing that much more fiddling around with revising so that I have that much more up-to-date version to work with. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm printing out the latest version of my scene cards to do some very last-minute fiddling around with some stuff in the middle. I definitely have the beginning and the end quite well fleshed out, and then the middle seems swirly a little bit. So I'm gonna basically leave it at that unless I get some major breakthrough. And that'll just be something that I fix in the third draft. But that's kind of the state of things at the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this as up to date as possible. And I'll check in again after that. Okay, so I just updated the first 5 sequences. I've got all the scenes that I know I'm going to do and the chapters that they're going to be in and the point of view for each of those chapters. And I'm going to try to fix the rest of the book and we'll see how that goes. We finished getting all 8 sequences up to date. It may look very similar, but there was a couple final things that got moved around, and they now all have the header for whose header for whose chapter the scene's in and what number chapter there are. So in the first draft there were 38 chapters, I think, and an epilogue and a prologue. And in this version there are 36 chapters and an epilogue and a prologue at the moment anyways. So that's kind of funny. So much stuff changed, so I'm not that surprised. But there are 80 scenes total that I've come up with. And I think probably one of the last things that I'll do before I actually start writing is take this stuff and move it into my like page outline. It's just a lot of copy pasting because then I can have 2 chapters per page and I can have what scenes are in each chapter and then some actual bullet points about what else is going on within each scene. So that is going to be the next thing we do, but we're not going to do that today. That'll be tomorrow or a couple days because I have to get outside and do some garden stuff. Happy Easter. Hope you had a nice Easter. Ours was great. My husband and I hid eggs full of candy for the kids, and then like an hour later they put candy in the eggs and they hid them for us. So that was very fun. I've never done that before. My first Easter egg hunt in like 20 years. It was great. I'm actually gonna go pick up the kids from my in-laws' house. They had a sleepover there, so I'm gonna go get them in like 3 hours, 2.5 hours. This is the first sleepover they've had in like over a year, and it's really nice. I've really been enjoying the morning. I did so much like writing this morning, and then I took a little walk outside. We have a few perennials starting to wake up. How's the writing going? So I've been doing a lot of garden stuff in the last couple of weeks. It's really been centered on getting the greenhouse started, getting the greenhouse like ready, which it is ready enough for our springtime season, and there's some more seasonal getting ready I'll have to do in the fall for it to be okay during winter, because we are going to overwinter some kale and lettuce and stuff like that, but that is far off in the future for now. So the greenhouse is like done for now. There's more seedlings we need to plant, hopefully later today, 4 weeks or so out from our last frost date. But I'm finally feeling like I can put more energy back towards writing, because I got that like imminent timed stuff done. That just had to happen. So where am I at with writing? I find myself in a stage I didn't expect to be in, but that now that I'm there, it feels like, yeah, like of course this was gonna happen, or like it should happen, because I've encountered so many problems at this stage. So I'm at the stage where I copy pasted like all of the scenes that I came up with into the chapter outline format. So that was great. And I printed those out, and I was just sitting down the other day and I started making my notes about sort of like revising the outline that I came up with, and thinking about like, what's the tone I'm really going for in this chapter? What is the chapter meant to accomplish? What are some things that need to happen within this? So like beyond just the scenes I came up with, but some more specifics, and like how would the scene be set up? What else? Is there any other like important stuff that needs to happen in this scene? And that's so helpful. I've actually added like 3 or 4, no, probably more than that, quite a few scenes. And I've only made notes on the prologue and the first 4 chapters. So I think this is just like really helpful. I didn't expect to do this. So on the one hand, it's like, oh my God, when am I gonna just start writing? But on the other hand, it's like exactly what I'm coming up with now. The specifics of how scenes are played out is what was tripping me up when I was doing the first draft. And that's what was making it spend like 30 to 40 minutes sometimes of like coming up with exactly all of the things that I'm doing now. So it's like, okay, yeah, like do it. That is apparently really good for me. So, and it's not like unenjoyable. I'm just ready to be in the stage where I have something that I'm physically writing. And the whole thought process behind having more than one project, there was a lot of stuff going on where it was like, yeah, having more than one project makes sense. But the big thing was like having one project almost always like at the stage of it needs to be written, while another project is in a stage of like it needs to be outlined or revised. And then like once the one that's to be written is written, like the one that was revising is now the writing one. And so it's just like, it's meant to be like that. And ever since like mid-February, I have not had a project to just write on. And it's been really difficult. And so I think it's like where I need to be right now, doing all of this, figuring things out for what works for me. But it's also frustrating because it's like, I just want to be writing right now. So anyways, like that's a funny thing. But I definitely am taking this revising seriously because I don't want to like know that I'm encountering these problems when I'm sitting down to write drafts and then ignore that and just be like, oh, I'm just like ready to write. That's just not where I'm at right now. I want to listen to that and be like, okay, there is more I need to figure out here before I feel like I could just sit down and write. Because when I sit down to write, I really, really want it to be like very fast and just like getting the second draft fully onto the page so that I have this like completely updated version of the story to work with so that I can then be like, oh yeah, okay, it's like probably it's missing this here and like let's fix the prose and all this stuff, which I just couldn't do with the first draft since so much changed. So anyways, so that's what's going on there. I spent about 3.5 time blocks this morning adding the notes I had made into my Word document for those, like, I think I did the prologue and 3 of the chapters. And I can tell, like, when I sit down to write, it is going to be so much easier. And I'm really excited about that prospect. So that's great. And my brother also writes, and he was sharing some of what he's written with me. And it was really getting me excited about like writing and sharing things with people because I really like haven't done that. There hasn't been anything worth sharing, and that's been frustrating as well. And I had written what I was at the time considering would be the prologue for Project Conjurer, which is my middle grade fantasy trilogy. So I had written like a rough draft of that. And I was like, I really want to like share something with my brother as well. And it would be that project. That's the one that makes sense. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I want to like polish this some more. This is not good enough to just send off for someone else to see. So I was spending like an hour on that last night. And so that was like super fun to get into the writing zone again. And I really like how it polished up, so I'm excited to share that with him. But I'm talking way too long. I need to actually go do some more writing because I have to leave soonish. I'm hoping to do like 3 more time blocks, which is definitely doable if I do it. So let me finish up my tea, get that cream and sugar in there, and get off the camera. At the moment, there's 1 more chapter that I'm adding the notes for, and then I'm gonna sit down and like do more note taking from that outline. Okay, so I just finished that last chapter that I had made my notes on, and that took like 35 minutes, but I really like how it's getting fleshed out. It's answering a lot of questions that had still been hanging around that I wasn't quite sure the answer of. And one of the dynamics in the friend group that I knew I wanted to have, but I didn't really understand why or how it would factor in. So that was great. It's feeling really, really good. There are 2 more chapters in the first sequence. The first sequence is a prologue and 5 chapters. So I have chapter 4 and 5 still that I need to make notes on, and I'm hoping I can do that today, right now. And also take those notes and like type them up into the chapter outline before I have to go get my kids in about an hour and a half, because then I'd be like done with the first sequence having it at a level where I think I could just sit down and write each chapter in like possibly my goal, which is like about an hour per chapter. So, I mean, that would just be incredible. So I'm gonna go outside. It is absolutely beautiful outside, and I'm gonna make my notes out there. I feel like it's been a while since I updated you, and I'm going to take you along. We're going to go water some plants, we're going to pick some salad, and we're going to bring some plants into the shade to harden off. Okay, let's go pick some lettuce. To be quite honest, like our lettuce is very, very small at the moment, and I'm just gonna like cut and come again, you know what I mean, like just cut some leaves here and there for a salad for dinner, and it's not very impressive. This is super early in the growing season for us. And we'll check the pea shoots because I planted peas behind the lettuce and they were just starting to poke up yesterday. It was very exciting. My son and I need to go get my car inspected. I'm really hoping it doesn't take too long. We're going early in the morning, but it's late in the month, so you know what that means. And I'm hoping to do some work while we're there. I have my clipboard, I have my computer. I'm really, really hoping to be done with my like fleshing out the outline chapter by chapter and by the end of this week. So, and according to like how many time blocks I think it will take and how many time blocks I have this week, like there's no way. So I'm hoping to at least get to like the end of the 6th sequence, which I think is possible. So we're shooting for that, and we're gonna go pretty heavy today and tomorrow and see how that goes. The car is inspected. That actually wasn't too bad of a wait. That was like an hour. That was great. We went to the supermarket, we got food, we're making food, it's lunchtime, and then we're gonna sit outside. We're gonna see if we can finish up the notes that I wrote on the 3rd sequence and then go back and type up those notes for 3 or 4 chapters worth of notes and get it like set. What I realized when I was there is that what I had as the final chapter of the 3rd sequence, I think actually is like the first, it works better as the first chapter for the 4th sequence, because I want the climax of that 3rd sequence to end at that like 33% mark through the book. That's like a good spot for a reminder of the stakes, of what's at stake if they like don't achieve their goals, which are at complete opposites with each other. So I think the second to last scene works better for that, and then there's like fallout from that is then kind of like the setup for the 4th sequence, where at the end of the 4th sequence like everything changes and the main character is now like, oh, I have a different thought about what's going on right now. And I think that's gonna work better. So I'm excited to try that out. I'm not gonna like, I don't know. This draft is like so different. It's so night and day different from the first draft that I like really I just need to get it on paper before being like, oh, like how much should I move around and everything, because I already moved so much around. So anyways, that's where we're at with that. Went well. coming to you from the middle of the day, sitting down to write. I did a bunch of gardening this morning. There's a bed, a raised bed that I made last year that I'm now taking apart. So we didn't have enough to fill it, and then all of the soil sank down, and it's easier to unfill it and do other things in that space than it would be to buy more soil. Anyways, I was working on that earlier, and it's hot. This is like a very weird week of April for us in Massachusetts. We are not in the like zone 7 section. We're not by Boston. We're in zone 5. Like we're in some higher altitude stuff. And it's so weird that this whole last week has been like 60, high 60s, low 70s. In April, crazy. Don't worry though, we're still getting into the 30s at night. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, over the weekend, we had Dungeons and Dragons for the 3rd time since November when we started our campaign. So that's what happens when everyone gets sick. But it was super fun. It's going to be a really fun campaign. It's with 3 of our oldest friends, my husband and I. 2 of the friends are married, and actually it's through those friends that my husband and I met each other playing Dungeons and Dragons. And so anyways, that was really fun. The other news is that I finally got my son his lead screening, and so now I was able to like complete the signing him up for kindergarten. So he'll be going in the fall. He's so excited. He is so excited. He keeps saying, "I'm ready for kindergarten today." Oh my god, it's like 4 months away, but that's cool. I'm so excited. That will be amazing. I have so many plans for all the things I'm gonna write when the kids are in school. But let's see what's going on. I'm a little bit scatterbrained. I was like falling asleep in the sun outside. Exhausted. So I'm trying to wake up with some coffee. Where are we at with writing progress? I finished fleshing out all of the chapters up through the 3rd sequence, which was, I think, 14 chapters. And I'm 2 chapters into the 4th sequence. So I think there are 4 more chapters to flesh out. And then I'll be like halfway through fleshing out the outline, which is frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm coming up with a lot of things and answering a lot of problems that were still there from doing just like the basic scenes. So I think this iteration is going to be, I mean, like going from the 1st draft to the 2nd draft is going to be like 5 to 10 times of an improvement. So it's definitely worth all of the things that I've been doing. But I am also just like, let's fucking write this. So it's a little frustrating. But that's the process. I am still like, I'm having a good time with it. And this stage of it where I have my outline printed out and I'm going through it and like penciling in notes and then typing those notes up and more fully fleshing out what the scenes are and other like bullet points about each scene on the computer. It's actually a really good stage to be at. It's very flexible. Like, it's something I feel like I can do outside in the afternoon when my daughter and my husband are home, when I feel like I don't want to like cloister myself away and be like, I'm writing, leave me alone. Which I was doing for a little while when I was in the writing stage of draft 1. And I really don't like doing that. But this is like very easy to take outside and just like casually do as we have casual family time outside. Speaking of casual, there's my son. Alright, let me see what's going on. He's okay now. He's eating graham crackers out of the package they come in. And he's just learned how to open like plastic packages, and so he really likes being in charge of that. But the way that he opened it, it like wasn't enough to get them out, so that was like very upsetting. What else am I talking about? Am I procrastinating from actually doing this? Why would you say that? I can't believe it. Yes. I did 2 chapters this morning before the kids got up, so that feels really good. But that only took 2 time blocks, and I am meant to work 4 more time blocks today. which I want to do. I'm like psyching myself up for it because I'm just like sleepy. Okay. And it's like frustrating because you can see, I don't know how fingers in the background work. Whatever. My Kanban board. You know what I mean. Almost nothing's been moved down. Because I thought I was going to do all this brainstorm stuff, like brainstorm 10 ways to shoot holes in Sophie's misbelief and Law's misbelief. Brainstorm 3 different cinematic ways to show the major beats, like 3 cinematic ways for the meet cute to play out, and like blah, 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 blah. And I didn't do that. It was too much. And I was like, I just need to do this draft. And if it needs to be fixed, I'll do it in the 3rd draft. I'll like brainstorm cinematic ways, whatever. So all of the outline stuff I let go of. I'm not going to do. Except for this one, which I thought would take 6 time blocks to do, which is updating the chapter outline with all of the notes. Why did I think it would take 6 time blocks, like 3 hours, to update all of this stuff? I don't know. I have no idea. Like, who knows what was going on in my head? I must not have thought I was going to do anything as thorough as what I'm doing right now, because, I mean, I've spent 8 time blocks alone on the 3rd sequence, probably similar for the first 2. Anyways, I haven't been able to move things down. It's very upsetting, but we all love to complain. I'm no different. I'm still having a good time. Complaining is also fun. I am coming up with a lot of connective scenes and a lot of like detail and conversation snippets as I'm thinking through how would these things connect, and I'm really liking that. I think it's going to fix a lot of the issues that I had when I was sitting down to do the first draft, where I just like, it was so vague what I was trying to do, but also like I had a specific end result I wanted to have, so it was just like difficult and frustrating. So I think this is going to go a lot better, and there have been like a couple ideas that have come up that I think are going to be really fun for some of the next books in the series with the group of friends, like when it's their book. And a lot of the scenes that I had, I'm changing pretty drastically sometimes, or even just like getting rid of a bunch of them. So it's all good. It's all good. And I guess I'll get off the camera and like try to get myself motivated here. That went well. I just did 1 time block, and I finished the notes and like fleshing out 1 chapter. So there are 3 chapters left in this sequence before like the 3rd chapter is the midpoint of the story. But in the next chapter, I only had 1 scene that I thought of, and I really like the scene, but it's reliant on there being a babysitter. And at this point of the story, like, it doesn't make sense that the protagonist would trust anyone to watch her son. So I don't know. And we've just had all of this stuff going on where at this stage, the male lead, the love interest, is not going to insist on anything like that. Like, he's trying to step back and give her a little bit of control, even though, like, he's not really. And so it's like, how do we do this scene that I think is good and fits here, but like doesn't have a babysitter, and there needs to be a babysitter? I think maybe I'll just like ignore that for now, because that seems like a 3rd draft problem. There's a possibility that we may be able to build up some interactions in the 3rd draft that happen in a few chapters prior to this, because there are some like possible good babysitter candidates that the protagonist might feel okay with, but I don't have scenes that would like support that right now. But like, that's a possibility. So I think that's probably just the easiest thing, to just be like, okay, like excuse me. Living my busy street is so rude. Yeah. So I've talked myself into just like leaving it. So we'll leave it. So that's the only scene that I have for that chapter. These are supposed to be like pretty short chapters, because I'm hoping the entire book is like not much more than 80,000 words. I don't know. I don't know how realistic that is. It feels like there's more that needs to be put in, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to like get everything condensed and like feeling good at 80,000 words. But that would mean that for this number of chapters in this section, I would prefer, on average, that the chapters are about 1,600 words or so. So to have like one scene, that seems fine because it's like, it's very exploratory. It's very like fun. It's a date that they're going on because of this like contract that they've drawn up between them, and he's trying to convince her why she should like stay at the end of the contract like with him. So there's all these dates. I only did one time block and I'm just like, I can't do more right now. So I guess I need to like take a little bit of a break and get up and do something else. And then I want to try to do at least one more time block. I'd really like to get that chapter done and fleshed out. And if I was able to do that, that would be like a win for today. That would be 4 chapters that I fleshed out. I do have myself scheduled for like 3 more time blocks today. So possibly I can do more outside later, like I was talking about when my husband and my daughter are home. That could work. I'm out of here. I'm doing something else. Before I go though, one fun thing that I just realized is I have fully outlined half of the book so far. I haven't outlined up to the midpoint, but I have outlined half of the number of chapters that there are. So that's pretty cool. That's a good feeling. I have nothing to move down. That's a bad feeling. But I have finished halfway. Hurrah. I just did yard work for like 30 minutes. In the hot sun. Did I work in the shade? No. It's the hottest part of the day, yeah. Is it like actually hot even though it's April and that's pucked up? Yeah. Why did I do that? I don't know, but I gave myself a headache, and so that's great. So of course I'm like more tired, I'm sweaty, I'm hot, I've got a headache, and I was doing that so that I could then come back inside and write. So in fact, the last thing I'm going to do right now is write. So I guess I'm going to just actually take it easy and try to see if I can get this headache to go away. And then maybe I'll be able to do like another time block. I really want to do that other chapter, even though I'm sabotaging myself. So maybe what I need though is ice cream. Maybe that's the key factor here. We are about to get in the car to go to my dad and stepmom's place. They live about an hour away from us, and they have like a bit of property. They do a lot of gardening as well. And all last year I was trying to like make time to start preparing things over there so that I could grow more and eventually have like a little orchard section over there because they're really excited about that idea. And life did not cooperate at all. But it's April. We're gonna go, we're gonna visit, we're gonna see what the site is like right now. It's literally just like woods. So, but I'm bringing garlic, I'm bringing potatoes. 1 second, honey. And we're gonna just like put some stuff in the ground, just like get some roots going, and hopefully visit again in 2 weeks and do something similar again. So we're gonna do that. What do you want to do? We've got slow cooker chicken going right now and rice in the rice maker. So we'll have like chicken tikka masala when we get back. That's great. It's my daughter's favorite meal. That's easy. Let's pack up and get out of here. I'm printing out the grocery list so that I can do some grocery shopping. It's like my least favorite thing in the world. So we're excited about it. I thought I was going to get to work on the property yesterday when I did a visit with my dad and my stepmom, but we just visited. We just had a really nice visit. It had been like months because of various multiple illnesses in my household, so we didn't do a lot of visiting over the winter. Sucks. But it was a great visit, and it happened that my brother, one of my brothers, was in town. He's a permaculture person. He's been traveling all winter, all over the world, meeting a lot of people, but he's back in the States. And he was telling us about some grants that he was given and just like lots of exciting stuff going on, really fun. So that was great to get to see him. And I didn't work on the property. I'm going to try to go back sometime in the next week and do a bunch of like tree cutting and all kinds of stuff. So that'll be exciting. You'll see some clips of that if and when it happens. And the other exciting stuff is that this morning I got up early and I finished that final chapter of the 4th quarter. So that's the midpoint chapter. Really exciting. And hooray! Wow! It's really fun how all the scenes are really starting to take shape, and it's going to be so fun to sit down and write. But I am really glad that I'm doing this step separately because it's such a different part of the brain to come up with like all of this stuff, and it's so different doing that rather than like the sitting down and writing words onto the page. And I really struggle trying to do both at once. So I think separating this out is going to be really good for me. So anyways, I need to go outside and look around the garden and see what I need to add to my like, here's what's growing in the garden that we could use when we're planning out our meals. Because I know we don't have that much right now, but oregano is coming up. It's really nice. So that's great for making salad dressings and stuff. So I need to add that and see if there's anything else that I just like missed. And I need to open up the greenhouse. So, and then I have to actually make this grocery list. I hate it. Anyways, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great month and week and life and year and everything. And I hope you don't have to make a grocery list ever again in your life. Happy writing. I'll see you in the next one.